Hello and welcome one and all to a very special edition of your Kingsport ChamberZone. We have finally made it. Episode number 300.
That's crazy.
I know, hard
Crazy
to believe.
talk.
300th episode of this award-winning show that's all about your Kingsport Chamber in this great city of Kingsport. As always, I am Bob Figgins with your Kingsport Chamber, and she is my good friend, co-host, and longtime friend and companion, Laura Woods with Eastman, and we're at quite the party tonight.
It's a huge party, and to think that this is all in celebration of this great community that we call Kingsport, because basically that's why we've been able to do 300 episodes, because we rock it out. 300 episodes means that we've had over 200 taping locations, over 1,500 guests.
That's right.
Is that right?
1,500 people willing to talk to us.
Wow.
It's really hard to believe. So, and we've got even more guests that will be on the show tonight. We're going to talk to the man who started it all, Brent Herron, who's with the executive producer of your Kingsport ChamberZone. He's with Spectrum Reach.
And we got other great guests too. We're going to have Miles on the show to talk to us about how this show has really impacted the chamber, as well as how the chamber continues to support the community. And then special guests. I'm so excited about our two special guests.
That's right, our two special guests. We have two segments of special guests. Two special guests we're going to have are our two mayors of Kingsport. They've been on the mayors of Kingsport during our entire 13 seasons on the air. Mayor Jeanette Blazier, and then of course current Mayor John Clark are going to look back on Kingsport ChamberZone's history.
And then we have a very special interview, but we're not going to tell you what it is. You're just going to have to stay tuned and find out.
That's right, but we're here at your Kingsport Chambers After Hours, celebrating 300 episodes of your Kingsport ChamberZone. The party tonight is being hosted by Spectrum Reach, your Kingsport ChamberZone, the Beer Run, and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers out on Stone Drive.
It's a great party, and we want to get started. We have a lot to tell you about too, so let's first check out the highlights.
Well, Kingsport ChamberZone all started 13 years ago. On Tuesday, July the 15th was our taping date. First air date was Friday, July 18th, 2003. Can you imagine? Can you believe it? A lot of things have changed during that time. One thing that hadn't changed is Laura still looks like she did back then.
No, I mean, I have curly hair.
Oh, you do have curly hair now. That's the only thing that's changed, yes.
Not even. But we want you to take a ride back with us in the time machine to that first episode. So check out this clip from episode number 1 of your Kingsport ChamberZone.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Kingsport ChamberZone. I'm Bob Figgins.
And I'm Laura Steele, and we're very happy to have you joining us for this very first Kingsport ChamberZone show. Bob, I'm really excited about the show.
I am too, Laura. I think it's going to be really great. Let's first start by telling everyone what the Kingsport Chamber is all about. The Kingsport Chamber of Commerce is a private business organization that promotes and protects the needs of the business community. Because as we all know, Laura, if we want to have a great quality of life and a great community in which to live, we need to have a very strong and thriving business environment.
Exactly, and Kingsport has both of those things, and the Chamber has been very successful in promoting the business environment here in Kingsport. Now, what we hope to do with the Kingsport ChamberZone show is give you just a taste about what the Kingsport Chamber does for us.
And the Kingsport Chamber is successful because of its members, and we want to thank those members who have helped to sponsor this show. We'll hear more about those companies later. And, of course, we want to thank the law firm for which you work, Hunter, Smith & Davis, for giving us your time to help us co-host the ChamberZone.
Exactly. We also want to thank Charter Media for producing this show for us. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It is going to be a lot of fun. And speaking of fun, what a better way to kick off the very first ChamberZone show than with Fun Fest. It is Fun Fest time in Tennessee.
It is Fun Fest time.
And welcome back to your Kingsport ChamberZone, this special edition for our 300th show.
And of course, standing here beside of us, a man that you all know very well. He is the president and CEO of your Kingsport Chamber of Commerce, retired colonel from the U.S. Marine Corps, and former star of Milestones that you used to watch right here on the Kingsport ChamberZone, Miles Verdine. Miles, welcome back to the show.
Yes,
I mean,
since season 1, you know. He's
yeah, you've been here as long as we have, you know.
I remember Milestones. Now, if I remember this right, you worked for me, but
That's right.
On milestones, he actually fired me
That's
from
right.
the show. So.
Well, I had some suggestions from some certain individuals. So, you know,
Get rid of miles.
listen to your volunteers, right? That's what we say.
I'm okay with that. Leave it to people who know what
Yeah.
they're doing. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
So.
But Miles, of course, we're here because we're thrilled to be celebrating our 300th episode of the Kingsport ChamberZone. And if you would talk just a little bit about how the show has evolved over the years that you've been a part of it and what you watched happen.
Well, first off, let me say this. Thank you all. Thank you all for doing this. 300 episodes is amazing. 13 years. Really, it's remarkable. But I also want to pay a compliment to both of you, especially Laura, because she volunteers.
She does.
She volunteers to do this. You get paid for it, but you do an excellent job. And Bob organizes,
Yep, makes
puts
it all
this
happen.
together. I want to say thank you to Charter for doing all this. And just wonderful partners. But you know, you guys have used this show to promote so many good things in this community. Not just things going on in the Chamber of Commerce, but things going on all over the community. All kinds of nonprofits, all kinds of events, all kinds of projects. And so it's meant a lot to our community, and we thank you very, very much.
Well, speaking of that, we always say it's easy to do this show because there is so much to talk about. We never have a lack of subject matter on any show for 13 seasons now. So talk a little bit about that, about what all is happening in Kingsport right now, all the many great things happening, and also our future looks very bright with the One Kingsport effort.
Honestly, this One Kingsport, the things that are happening with One Kingsport, and 100 and some odd different projects or ideas that came out of One Kingsport. Not all of them will happen, but many of them will. And that's going to tie the future of our city to a level that will mean a lot to those who are going to follow us. I mean, they're literally planting seeds that are going to grow trees, that are going to grow shade, under which we may never sit, but those who follow us will. It's just a wonderful, wonderful idea. And I look so forward to seeing those ideas come to fruition.
Well, we just so appreciate the Chamber's, of course, support of the show and the fact that you do lend Bob to the show because
He's glad to get rid of me every 2 weeks out of the office. Go, take your time, you know.
Every 2 weeks he leaves me a voicemail saying I won't be there, I'm doing ChamberZone. I'm okay with that.
But I mean, again, a huge congratulations, of course, to the Chamber and all of the wonderful things that the Chamber does for the community.
Well, Miles Burdine, the President and CEO of your Kingsport Chamber, and my boss, thanks for joining us today, and thanks for your great leadership and all you not only do for this organization, but the community as well, Miles.
Miles.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this. And welcome back to this special 300th edition of your Kingsport ChamberZone.
And we're so excited because we are now joined by the gentleman who started it all, the one who was there from day one. He's either the credit or the blame, depending on how you look at us in this show. He is Brent Herron. He's the executive producer of your Kingsport ChamberZone. He's also the senior manager for creative services for Spectrum Reach. Brent, thanks for being here tonight, and congratulations.
Thanks.
Oh, well, congrats to you.
Oh, you're the ones that are always in front of the camera, so it's more congratulations to you. We do the behind the scenes.
Well, thank you. Well, you all make it happen. We've talked all along about the fabulous team at Spectrum Reach. So let's just start right there before we talk about the show.
Okay.
Tell us about this wonderful company, Spectrum Reach, and all the wonderful things you do.
Okay. Spectrum Reach is an advertising division for Charter Spectrum, which used to be called Charter Communications and still is. If you go out by the office, it still has the same Charter sign out there. But our division actually handles all the advertising in the Tri-Cities on the cable networks. So if you're watching something on ESPN or the Weather Channel and you see a local break play inside of that, that's us. You know, we're inserting those commercials during those breaks that are going on. And then also we have our digital and our online products that we're doing now. So we're developing landing pages for clients, doing web banner ads and things for them. So it's really evolved from what we were doing with you guys starting back in the early 2000s up until now. So it's really changed.
Well, and I guess let's talk about what you started doing with us back in the early 2000s. How did the idea for the Kingsport ChamberZone even come about?
In about 2002, what was Charter Main Street, which was a channel that we were using to advertise real estate on. So all the realtors were doing still frame ads on there and selling their houses and things. Charter wanted to become more involved in the market as far as being a community partner. So the idea was developed to do community-based shows. Not only the ChamberZone, but we were doing music shows, we were doing high school sports, we were doing ETSU sports, we were doing a lot of different things. So we actually reached out to all the chambers, the ones in Bristol, one in Johnson City, one in Kingsport, and you guys were the only ones that actually took it.
I'm not sure what that
I'm not sure that's, we were gullible enough to, accept that offer, right? So,
but it's actually been a really good partnership for Charter and Spectrum as well to to be a partner in the community, to go out to these businesses that are around and to the special events that are going on. So it was a way for us to outreach in the community like we hadn't before.
That's awesome.
Well, you do have great outreach in the community. We certainly appreciate all you do. So talk a little bit about that, about what all you all do for the community and this show, Kingsport ChamberZone's impact on this community.
Yeah, we do a lot more than just the ChamberZone show. We're involved in a lot of public service announcements for different things. Like there's charity golf tournaments going on, there's a benefit concert at Susan G. Komen Foundation. Those types of public service announcements come into us.
A little dinner, you know,
so
promote, you know.
So a little ChamberZone or chamber event dinner for the chamber.
Yeah.
But we're involved in the community that way. You know, as far as spectrum reach is concerned, we don't have, you know, like a big presence of people in this area. We're about an office of about 20 people, but we're
And it takes all of them just to handle this.
we're involved
village,
in the community as a media sponsor a lot of times for events that are going on in the Tri-Cities.
So just if we think about how ChamberZone has evolved, certainly Spectrum Reach and its ability to serve the community has evolved too. So what do you see down the future, both for us as well as for Spectrum Reach?
As long as you two are willing to continue on, we're willing to continue on. We want to be a good community sponsor for this and also for the communities that we serve in the Tri-Cities. We want to be out there and be in front, leading the way for, you know, for what we do and for what we sell, but also to be a very good community partner and sponsoring different events and things that are going on.
That's awesome. That's great.
Well, you are a superb community partner and have been for 13 years, even before that, and for many more years, we hope. So you all do a great job. Brent Herron with Spectrum Reach, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Stay tuned, because when we come back, we're going to have a couple of the mayors who's been with us for the last 300 episodes as well, right after this.
And welcome back to this special edition of your Kingsport ChamberZone, show number 300.
You know, one of the things that I have loved over the last 300 episodes is that we often have guests on our show who need no introduction, and these two absolutely fit that bill, but I'll go ahead and tell you who they are anyway. Of course, we have our former Mayor Jeanette Blazier here, who was mayor of Kingsport from 1999 to 2005. It is so good to see you.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. This is a great occasion.
We bring out the heavy hitters for show 300, you know, the big celebrity guests, yes.
Thank you so much. And of course, Mayor John Clark, who is our current mayor for the city of Kingsport from 2015. So we are so happy to have you back on the show.
1 year anniversary. So I have 300 more
Congratulations.
to go.
Yes, that's congratulations, yes.
Yes, I'm so honored here to be with Mayor Blazier.
And we should mention Mayor Dennis Phillips was supposed to be with us, was called out of town, so he sends his regrets. So
He does. But we'll talk about him anyway.
we'll talk about him anyway. So.
Exactly. Well, and what we do want to talk about, Mayor Blazier, is we want to talk about your time as mayor here and sort of what Kingsport looked like then and the future that you saw for the city when you were in that leadership position.
The Board of Mayor and Aldermen and I decided to host a planning summit. The main purpose was to create a new roadmap to our future, but out of that came so many great things. We focused on workforce development, education, and training, and initiated our Educate and Grow scholarship program with Northeast State. And we also were able to build the first building that is now a part of our, that we know is our academic village in our downtown. And we had begun to have discussions and do the foundation work for the creation of the Higher Ed Center that was later, of course, to occur. And so out of that has come all of our redevelopment projects, Eastone Commons, Crown Point, and of course the press property that came later. But without that plan, it could have not, it wouldn't have happened. So we had education, we had small business, redevelopment, and of course we had other things that we were doing, but I think those were the biggies.
So that brings us to present day.
Yeah.
Mayor of the
Well,
Bars and High.
Mayor Blazier is a true role model, great leader, and she's still to this day still involved in our community. So I
She
call
is.
her a treasure, Kingsport ChamberZone.
Absolutely, yeah.
But with
Well,
the, go ahead.
I was going to say, we're also fortunate to have you as mayor, and you're
Thank
just
you.
wrapping up your first year. There's a lot going on now during your
Right.
tenure. So
Yeah.
kind of, before we talk about the future of our city, kind of give us the state of affairs with the city of Kingsport and where we are.
And as she mentioned, that back in '99 we had that great visionary program, Mayor Phillips kept driving it. And so now, fortunately, we've accomplished a lot of that initial plan. So when I came in last year, I thought that what we needed to do was get the community together once again and try to build on that and have a new vision program, which we call the One Kingsport Summit. And that movement is now taking place. And from that, we have 7 new focus areas and a bunch of great ideas and also recommendations that now we would love to implement. And we're trying, right now we're in the throes of trying to figure out how to fund them all. But it's a very exciting time for Kingsport as well.
I was at that summit in 1999. I'm getting a sense of deja vu since you were at both summits as well about, the creation and the plans and what all's coming together.
Yeah.
So,
those, they work.
Yes, they do work, yes.
It brings focus.
Right.
Absolutely.
And then if people are involved in it, they want to help make it happen.
Oh, absolutely. The buy-in is huge.
Absolutely. What is an exciting time, and there's a lot of momentum, a lot of excitement in the community, and the future looks equally as bright, right? You both feel very good about where we're headed, don't we?
Yes. There's a direction.
Yes.
So that's always, I like to check things off. And,
And plan, oh yes.
But from a leadership perspective, when you look at Kingsport, I think we're in such a great position because of all the work that's been done in the past. For instance, we have phenomenal jobs here in town. When you focus on the best jobs, best paying industries in the world are manufacturing and healthcare, and we have an abundance of both. We're also big on education, not just our city school system from K through high school, but also we're expanding now post-high school with the academic village, everything that Mayors Phillip and Blazier laid for us, the foundation. We're now trying to utilize that even more so.
Sure.
So that's important. And then we have great destination city assets that, thanks to the previous mayors, have led that effort. So we have uniqueness in Kingsport that we're trying to leverage. And then now with the One Kingsport Summit, we're trying to expand that portfolio of destination city assets so that we have more to offer that makes us unique so that we can retain and attract more of those key segments of our city. So very exciting.
And both of you all mentioned the importance of partnerships as you were talking about the successes that we've watched Kingsport have over the last 13 seasons that we've been on the air. And I'm a huge fan of the Kingsport Chamber because I think it's a great example of the type of partnerships that our community has. So would both of y'all talk just a little bit about what the Chamber means to the community and how this show maybe has helped that out?
Well, communication is huge. I've heard that it takes hearing something 13 times before it actually
We've been on for 13 years now, so we're finally getting our message across.
I was leading there. You gave me a great cue. But anyway, I can't say enough about the importance of people hearing what's going on, because otherwise they're in a vacuum. This show has helped immensely with that issue, but just the entire chamber, the various programs of the chamber involve our citizens in ways that they can touch and feel and experience the good things about our city. So the chamber really generates a lot of involvement, and I think that's wonderful.
I was going to say also that the Chamber focuses on small businesses, and that's very, very important to our success in our city. So, and your show here really helps market and communicate to our business world here in town, and also to our citizens, all the great things that we have going on. We're a very humble society here in Kingsport. We don't normally tap ourselves on the back, and we need to start doing a little bit more of that, because it's going to be very critical for us to market and sell and promote all the great things we have in Kingsport to help us be more competitive in our area in the Southeast.
Well, it's a community that's kept this show going for 300 episodes.
Absolutely, It's been a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about. So.
And the two of you have so much enthusiasm for what you do that's contagious too. Thank you for that.
It's easy to promote. A lot of great things happening here. And a big reason why, and two great things happening in Kingsport are you two. Mayor Jeanette Blazier and Mayor John Clark of Kingsport, thanks for joining us. And thanks for being with us on this special edition.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you both.
Good job.
Stay tuned. When we come back, we have a surprise for you.
And welcome back to the 300th edition of your Kingsport ChamberZone. We've been teasing it the entire show. We have a special interview, special surprise guest interview segment here, don't we?
It's, you know, we're normally the ones asking the questions here on the show, but we took this opportunity to celebrate our show by having a visit with our dear friend Josh Smith with WJHL News Channel 11, where he got to ask us some questions about the show. Take a look.
Usually when I'm on television with these two, they're asking me questions, so this is awesome. Welcome to News Channel 11, you two.
Thank you for
Good to be
having
here.
us.
Thank you for doing this.
Anniversary or
Yeah.
300th episode.
Yes, yeah.
Gracious. That's a milestone for some network television shows that have been canceled like one episode in. You all have made it to 300, so from all of us here at WJHL, congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
And now, let's find out how this started. Let's dig deeper.
Find out how we made it this far.
How did it start? Did you think, let's do a little TV show?
No.
Who came up with this?
No. Does anybody even claim responsibility?
I'm not sure they do even after 13 seasons, but way back when, back along 2002, 2003, we thought about starting. Would be great to have a TV show, you know, to promote what we're doing at the Kingsport Chamber. And then Charter, which is now Spectrum Reach, Charter approached us and said, hey, we've got an idea for a TV show. So we kind of were thinking along the same lines. They said, we'd like to do a half-hour show. We'll put you in our studio and go find a co-host, and can you find stuff to talk about? And
that's what they said to you.
Yes.
Because you've been at the chamber for what, since 1812,
Yes, I have.
1813?
Way before it started. I was
The city
with our
was not even
predecessor.
founded.
That's
Correct.
right. Yes.
That's right.
Okay,
That's right.
and you were, you know, having
Fresh
fun
out of college.
You went to law school. You began your life as an attorney.
Right.
But you and Bob have been friends for when?
Well, Bob and I think, met probably around 99, which is when I had moved back to Kingsport to start practicing law. And we had just run into each other socially since then. And then when this idea of the TV show came up, he called me, of all people.
You were thinking, creepy.
It completely caught me by surprise.
You want me to be on a little
I called
cable
her and
show?
told her I had something I needed to ask her, and we were actually at Betty DeVinny's
my
retirement
goodness.
party at Meadowview, standing in line together.
Yeah.
It was a long line because it's Betty
course.
DeVinny.
Everyone to
line,
say congrats.
And she said, what did you want to ask me? I said, oh yes, well, I've got you captured for the next 20 minutes.
You're a performer. You're a musician.
Yes, I play the piano.
You are, but come on, you're a performer. So were you nervous about this idea of being on television? Because, I mean, I'm still kind of throw up a little bit before each newscast. Do you get nervous, or did you when you first started? Or?
Well, certainly, and if you dig out the VHS tapes from our first few episodes, which my mom would be happy to loan to you if you happen to want to see them, you can definitely tell there was a stiltedness, I think, to what we were doing. Of course, we have a safety net that you don't get to enjoy, which is the fact that we're taped.
Right.
So all of our bloopers, and there are bloopers,
Tell
get
me about
edited
the
out.
bloopers. Are there some ones that stand out in your mind?
Oh yes, and they're usually
What's your
ours.
favorite
but yes.
blooper? And I want to start with you, Laura.
So my favorite blooper is probably from our 100th episode, okay? And we were celebrating that episode at Oak Hill Memorial Park's Funerals and Cremations, ironically enough.
Excuse the irony of that. You know.
And our good friend Jantry Shoup wanted to do something special for us, and we weren't sure what it was, and so we had to trust Jantry that it was going to be something okay for our episode. And so we're standing there to wrap up everything, and Jantry, sort of walks onto the set. We intro him, and he walks onto the set, and he said, so to celebrate your 100th episode, we have a big surprise for you. And that was supposed to be the cue for some people who were standing inside the building to walk out with this beautiful cake that Food City had prepared for us that had our logo on there and happy 100th episode. And so he said a big surprise, and nothing happened. And so Bob and I were just looking at each other and then looking at Jantry.
Surprise?
And
He goes, surprise.
he leans in a little bit closer to the door. He goes, a big surprise, and nothing happens. And so he finally walks up to the door and he opens it up and he yells in there, a big surprise! And they poke their head out and they said, are we supposed to come out now?
Oh no! Oh no!
And
no.
so we obviously had to do a retake, and
Blooper.
the big surprise was not quite the big surprise, but it was still fun.
You knew a blooper would have to involve Jantry,
Of
right?
course,
Yes,
and humorous
Yeah.
as well. How about you, famous?
We were at
favorite?
Eastman Credit Union, and we were wrapping up the show, and as one of the interview segments on that show, we were talking about the Animile that was coming up.
Right.
That's the dog race and human race right before the Santa train arrives in Kingsport, and we had our good friend
Natalie Whitlock.
Natalie Whitlock.
Oh, yes.
Natalie
Yeah.
Whitlock on the show, and we had Kara Dykstra, who was the Move to Kingsport director at the time. They were on there with their dogs. and then we were closing the show, and they still had their dogs, and one was a lab, and the other
Yes.
one was a little,
A
small dog.
not a beagle, but
Basset hound.
Basset hound, thank you. It was a basset hound.
And they were very calm and tame, and she'd put the lab that was kind of unruly already in the car. So this was the calm lab. We were sitting there closing the show, and all of a sudden you heard grrr, and then a grrr, and it got louder and louder, and then all of a sudden full out barking and jumping and fighting.
Lunging at each other in front of us.
And it's usually us that's doing that. So this time we had puppies on. So that was a memorable moment.
You know, as we record this, I know you have to fit this into a hole in your show, and I'm kind of just going rogue on you now because I'm going to blow past our time and keep asking you a couple more questions. Rapid fire.
Sure.
How do you come up with the topics? Because I watch your shows and I'm thinking everybody's probably wanted to get onto your show, and how do you choose?
I'll defer to Bob, and I'll just have to offer up the fact that anything that you see on that show is really the makings of Bob, because he makes it. He does everything. I just have to show up.
Yep.
So I don't make.
And keep you from getting sued.
I take absolutely no credit. I can take absolutely no credit for all of the wonderful things on the show.
Well, while she's saying that, let me compliment her too quickly. One, we do have her on because she's an attorney. We thought we'd get sued at some point.
At
So
some
the
point.
real reason I asked her. But Laura has volunteered. She's a volunteer. I get paid to do this.
Right.
Laura's a volunteer. She's shown up for every show, 13 seasons. We do it every 2 weeks. You know, she reads the script. She takes 3 or 4 hours out of her day, every week to do this show. So she's just the ultimate volunteer. We hold up to all of our rest of our volunteers. We could not do this without her. But the show is easy. We have so much going on in Kingsport, Josh. All the growth and development. We have a lot of requests to be on there, but it gives us a chance to promote the Kingsport Chamber, our programs, news and events, the community, so many organizations and arts, and all the developments and initiatives in the city. So we're never short on lack of topics.
And I will say this as we close, is I am amazed every time I'm near your show, every time I see your show, there is a spirit in that city, in your city, in our city, that is really amazing. It's not exclusive, and it's a big umbrella. You bring the whole Tri-Cities in.
Sure.
But that seems to be the backbone of this show. Would you say that's true?
Oh,
that it's that love of place?
Absolutely. It's so easy for us. It's so easy to be excited about everything that's happening in Kingsport, because we do love Kingsport, and it has so much to offer, and it has given so much to us. It's the whole concept of community trusteeship. We have to give back to it in order to allow it to perpetuate to be the wonderful place that it is.
Okay, I'll end on this note. You should be paid. That's all there is to it. And I have an agent. I'll let you know. I'll give you his card after. Because you should be paid. Congratulations, you guys. I want to say 300 is remarkable.
Thank you.
And keep on going. Keep it positive. I love that that's what you're doing. And thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Well, thank you.
Well, thanks, Josh.
And when
Appreciate
you do
it.
400,
Yes.
will you let me be on that show?
We'll be back
too?
over here again.
Yeah,
promise?
absolutely.
You and
Promise.
Sarah are always some of our favorite guests.
Yes.
We always love having you on. So thanks for doing this.
We enjoy being on your show too. It's crazy. All right,
you.
happy 300.
Thank you.
And
Thank
stay
you,
with
my
us,
friend.
everybody. More of the 300th episode of ChamberZone in just a moment.
And welcome back. We're closing out this edition of your Kingsport ChamberZone.
Now, for those of you who've watched us for 13 years and 300 episodes, you'll remember back to our very first one. One of our bloopers was we forgot our sponsors. Well, don't think we don't learn from our mistakes after 13 years. So here we are with some of our sponsors. Of course, we have all of our guests who were on with us earlier. Mayors John Clark and Jeanette Blazer and Brent Herron, Spectrum Reach. We want to thank them. And tonight's sponsors, the Beer Run. We have Dr. Scott Fitzpatrick with us, and of course, we have Matt Wells, who's the general manager of Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, and the man behind the camera, our producer and director, Jason Henson with Spectrum
That's
Reach.
Jason that
So
we're
we wanna-
always talking about.
Yeah, so we want to thank all of them. And
Quickly, as we always do, we want to remind you that to find out what's happening here in Kingsport, watch us here on the Kingsport ChamberZone. Episode 301 will be here before you know it. Call the Chamber at 392-8800. Visit them down here at 400 Clinchfield. Go online at kingsportchamber.org.
And we're not done. We've got more episodes coming. If you think this is it, we're going to
No,
visit
we have
Centennial
more.
Park, learn what that's about.
Yeah.
We're going to Bristol Motor Speedway to have a preview of that big battle at Bristol between UT and Virginia Tech. We'll mention Fun Fest, annual dinner, and somehow I think One Kingsport will work its way back in the show at some
Probably.
point this fall. Yeah.
And an annual dinner preview.
Yes. Thank you for joining us on this very special edition of your Kingsport Chamber. And for all of us, as we have, one final surprise. See, I almost forgot. I get paid to do this, as Miles mentioned. Laura, my good friend and dear friend and co-host, volunteers now. But I want to thank you for all that you've done for 13 years. Because you really make this show. So thank you,
I
my
don't.
dear friend.
Thank you,
Yes.
Bob.
As we have for 300 times now, until our next visit together on your Kingsport ChamberZone, we are Bob and the flowery decorated Laura, reminding you to please be loyal.
Bye, local. Have a great week.